Good afternoon and welcome to Cat and Cloud broadcast. Okay, so first, before we start, let's have a word from BricsCAD.
BricsCAD is BricsCAD is computer-aided design software for people who build things. It's the best choice for drafters, designers, architects, and engineers. It's highly compatible with everything you already know. It's based on industry standard DWG for both 2D drafting and 3D modeling. BricsCAD leverages the power of artificial intelligence to help you work faster and more accurately. Hundreds of third-party applications run on BricsCAD to power your workflows. BricsCAD is a design platform that runs as one product, end-to-end. BricsCAD BIM is a unique, CAD-accurate building information modeling system that keeps design first. BricsCAD Mechanical brings a familiar workflow to mechanical assembly design, and it works with BricsCAD BIM to enable the design and documentation of manufactured building products. No other CAD vendor can deliver on this promise. BricsCAD is cost-effective. A BricsCAD perpetual license is half the price of a yearly subscription to that other CAD program. Try BricsCAD today.
And good afternoon, Cat and Cloud. So my name is JP Titik. I'm your sales executive for BricsCAD. All right, so for today, we're going to have a webinar, Discover BricsCAD Classic or BricsCAD Lite, and A to B migration, how we're going to convert from our previous CAD into BricsCAD. And this webinar will be led by our very own from Bricsys, Ma'am Claire Lee. But first, I'd like to invite everyone. I'd like to invite everyone to check our pages. First, we'd like to invite you to download BricsCAD. The link is in the description, so you can download a 30-day free trial, so you can try BricsCAD here. And do register to our webinar because we'll be having freebies at the end of the session. So do register here, fill up the forms, and of course, we'd like to invite you to our groups. We have BricsCAD Users Philippines in LinkedIn. Do join our group. And BricsCAD Users Philippines on Facebook. We also have pages. We have BricsCAD Philippines on Facebook and our very own CAD in Cloud on Facebook. Please do like our page and subscribe to our YouTube channel, CAD in Cloud. Okay? So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Ma'am Claire Lee.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Hi. Afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. So today we'll have a couple of sessions. Namely, if I may share my screen, I think I should just share my screen now.
Yes, ma'am.
Share my screen. Great. Okay. So I think you should be able to see this.
Okay.
Can you see my screen? It's basically the start. Yeah. So today we'll have a couple of sessions, namely Discover BricsCAD Lite, and also session 2 will be A to B migration strategies. Don't worry, we'll have a break in the middle of this so that you won't feel too exhausted. So before I start showing you BricsCAD Lite, I wanted to discuss first who is Bricsys, what is BricsCAD. So today I am Claire, as JP has introduced me earlier. I am an architect. My background is in architecture. I'm currently with Bricsys, as a technical consultant for the APAC region. So my email address is stated here, claire.lee@bricsys.com. So if you have any questions after this session or along the way, anytime in the future about BricsCAD, and maybe you have other questions about even beyond BricsCAD Lite, that's perfectly fine. You can just email me and we'll be happy to assist you. And if you want us to do any other demos that you may want for your company, that's totally fine as well. So just email me freely. So for session one, discover BricsCAD Lite. The agenda would be, of course, to introduce a bit of Bricsys and BricsCAD, and we'll go straight to BricsCAD Lite live, and I'll show you the software itself, how the platform is. We'll have a live demo. We'll go through the settings bar just to make sure that you don't miss out a lot of the tips that we may have for you. And we'll go through some panels and browsers, the useful ones, the major ones I would recommend, and then some powerful AI tools in the mix as well. And then at the end of session one, I just want to also show you a bit of 24/7, and you'll find out later what 24/7 is inside Bricsys. So who is Bricsys? Bricsys is a global provider of cost-effective modern CAD software. We have BIM, we have mechanical design, we have a common data environment as well, which is what I mentioned earlier is 24/7. And these products are brought to market under the BricsCAD brand. So for today, we will be purely focusing on BricsCAD Lite, which of course would be the CAD side of things. As you see below, Hexagon acquired Bricsys a few years ago, a couple of years ago. And for your information, also maybe this is of interest to you and your company. Hexagon is a $20 billion publicly traded technology group based in Europe. So Bricsys is quite valuable in terms of the perspective of Hexagon. That's why they acquired Bricsys, and they see potential in how BricsCAD is able to maybe disrupt the market and bring to you a solution that you may want to explore and implement in your work. There are about 400,000 Bricsys product users in over 110 countries. So hopefully we'll get to grow this more as we go along. And then Bricsys is headquartered in Belgium. So it originated in Belgium with over 200 employees in 12 countries and growing. So you'll see here on this world map where we are in the world. The main headquarters is, of course, in Belgium, and we have been rapidly growing in the APAC region, which is why we're having this session today to spread the word even more about BricsCAD and how useful it can be in your workflow. So as you see, a lot of the APAC commercial centers have been established early this year, and we are just expanding rapidly. So hopefully, as we are sitting here in Singapore in the APAC headquarters of Bricsys, you'll be able to see us more or interact with us more as we are in the same time zone. So that's pretty good. That's why we are also establishing that headquarters here in Singapore to be able to reach out to the region better. And then if you notice, in Hong Kong, actually, there was already a commercial center there since 2014. And then Singapore has been a development center since 2013, meaning some programmers are here for Bricsys. But commercially, HQ has been established in early this year. So here are just a few of the clients that we have in Southeast Asia. Since we are in Southeast Asia, we thought we'd like to highlight these clients that we have. So as you might notice here, we are in different industries, not just in architecture, not just in construction, not just in manufacturing, but all over. So there is one zone. One zone is one of the customers we have in Philippines. They're a BIM consultancy, among other services that they provide. We have engineering. We have a curtain wall design company here, Thorsten, and just below Thorsten, you would see Eco-Green Oleochemicals. So it's really a mix. We are in manufacturing, we are in construction, we are in BIM, architecture, and drafting, and just a lot of uses for BricsCAD, really. So we also have government clients. One of the more popular uses that we are um, having now is with Australia, Queensland government. So in Australia, a lot of the BricsCAD customers are actually surveyors. So that's also another part of the whole process that we are involved in. They see value in using BricsCAD in their workflow. So you see, we have engineering, we have mines as well. So it's really a good way for us to spread the word and see where we can help out different industries through the BricsCAD platform. And I think from this slide, you would be able to pick out quite popular names. We have Bosch, Hitachi. These are very familiar names to us. Hyundai, Muton. We have Mazda, Nippon Steel, and Prototype just below Hitachi. There is also a facade uh, curtain wall manufacturing company. They're a design company as well. So very good there in terms of their workflow in when they do their design and onward to manufacturing, onward to how they are able to connect back to the construction part. At the end of the day, of course, they have to build that specific element that they are building for that construction project. And below that, you would see that we also have collaborations with HOK, which is a very popular name in the architecture world. I think we are quite familiar with their name. With together with HOK and Leica Geosystems, Bricsys has a Scan to BIM initiative. So Leica Geosystems, for you who are not familiar with them, they are um, a company that is quite popular in the scanning solutions. So they have hardware, and of course, inside there, this is a sister brand of ours. They're also under Hexagon. So with this acquisition by Hexagon of Bricsys, we are able to collaborate even better with our sister companies to bring you even more useful solutions. So this is the Scan to BIM initiative. If any of you are interested in that, um, please let us know. We'll be happy to accommodate and assist, and also help you out to see how we can move further to what you want to achieve. Of course, Scan to BIM is very important when you talk about having old buildings or historical buildings, even when these records have either been lost, destroyed, or just too old to even process. Sometimes you can't really rely on the manual record sometimes. So you would want to scan your building, put them in your system, and then from there, you would be able to build out your model. So on the left side, you also see there a Macano towel. So they use BricsCAD BIM in one of their projects. So this is just a list. Of course, it's not exhaustive. We do have a lot more clients, but these are just the ones that we wanted to highlight for today. So let's move on. This is the solution family that we have in BricsCAD. So I did mention a few things earlier, like BIM, Scan to BIM, models and all those things. So, and also the cloud and the common data environment. So this is how it is as an overview of everything that we have under the BricsCAD branding. So something that I highlighted here is that everything is in one platform, meaning the CAD part. Of course, the cloud is in the cloud, but let's say BricsCAD Lite is in one platform as BricsCAD Pro. And if you see here, there is a distinction between BIM and mechanical. So, for example, you are just focusing on BIM. Let's say you're an architectural company or construction company, you might just want to go for BIM. This visual will help us understand that all the functionalities in BricsCAD Lite are in BricsCAD Pro, and everything in BricsCAD Lite and Pro are in BricsCAD BIM. So same goes with mechanical. Mechanical will have all the Pro and Lite features. So this means that you don't even have to choose. You won't have a very difficult choice. You just need to determine which level of functionalities you need. It's not like having product A and B. It's basically, oh, okay, now I need maybe 2D, I'll go for light. And then Pro will give you 3D modeling, including parametric modeling. So that is very powerful if you want to start with 3D concept design. So that's would be Pro. And then on BIM, of course, you'll just have even more information. You'll start your BIM um, model and just have all your information there. And then at the end of the day, if you want all the functionalities, meaning you want both BIM and mechanical, some companies might want to go for this if they have both the construction and they also do manufacturing. So that's pretty useful. So they might want to go for ultimate, meaning you get all the functionalities of the ones included inside. And everything is in one platform, all in DWG as well. One of the things that we encounter is that people think that if, let's say, you have a 2D CAD platform, that will be in DWG. If you go for modeling, then you would have another type of file format. And then later on, if you maybe start your workflow in 2D, then you go for modeling, you go for BIM later on, then you'll have to change your file format again. So that's something that we want to solve in terms of the interoperability and interchange of files and the information inside those files, and as well as your workflow. Because I also came from the industry, right? So I understand the difficulty of having to use one software for one part of your process, and then you have to switch. And then later on, there was something wrong, you have to go back and switch again. And that's not something that we want to promote. We want to promote something that you would be able to go from one part of your process to another seamlessly. And that's why I'm talking about this a bit more, because a lot of the times we encounter this question of confusion. Everything is in DWG, they're a bit confused, but that's something that we have inside BricsCAD. So for today, of course, we'll just be talking about Light. That's what today is about. So Light is basically 2D, your 2D drafting, 2D information in your workflow. One more thing here is that everything is connected to the cloud. So we do have a BricsCAD cloud, and on top of that, we have Bricsys 24/7. So what's the difference here? BricsCAD cloud is you could think of it as like a repository. So like a server, you put all your files there, you can download, change it, you can upload it back, you can collaborate with the different people in your team. Especially now when people are in different parts of different locations, not working together in an office. This might pose a problem, but with the cloud, of course, you can collaborate faster and easier. But that's a repository. Bricsys 24/7, on the other hand, gives you even more functionality in terms of project collaboration. So it's not just a repository that everyone can access. It also gives you more tools, like you can scan your models. You can have automated workflows. You can create your customized workflows and forms, and instantly give tasks to certain people in your project. So that's basically it, and that's a common data environment. let's move on to the next thing, so that we can quickly move on to the demo itself. So just wanted to give you an overview here, but today the focus is really on BricsCAD Lite. So where is BricsCAD in your entire design and construction workflow? It really depends on how you start your process. If you start your process with 2D, definitely BricsCAD Lite will be there. But in your entire workflow, if you, let's say you start in 3D, you can later go on to 2D also with BricsCAD Lite. So this is just demonstrating and showing where we are in your workflow. You can use BricsCAD from schematic design, design development. You can use BricsCAD when you're doing your quantities and estimations. You can extract some data. You can use BricsCAD also in documentation, of course, which is your detailing and all those information. And even in construction, of course, when you're doing coordination, that's always going to be there. And what is the BricsCAD Advantage? Because today we'll be talking about 2D, basically. So the advantage is that, as I mentioned earlier, you are able to do a lot of the work that you need to do in your entire process in DWG, because everything is in DWG. So even if you start in 2D, you won't have to waste a lot of your time going to 3D later on, or even switching it. If you start in 3D, you go to 2D, that's fine as well. You can go and move to BIM later on, even if you're using mechanical, if you do some civil works, if you interact with a lot of the civil organizations as well, you can use BricsCAD for that. And we do have point clouds, as I mentioned earlier. We can do scan to BIM and some GIS information. So that's really the BricsCAD Advantage is connected to our file format. Of having everything in one platform and in one format helps you already a lot. So a full workflow that aligns with your 2D documentation standards. That's really the goal here. So today, we will be not discussing the things beyond BricsCAD Lite, but if you see on your screens, you will see a lot of your documentation standards might have already been set in the current software that you're using. For example, you have your CUI, you have your tool palettes, your menus, ribbons. You might have your list routines also as a company standard, your sheet sets, your templates, your company templates, of course, that's already been set up with all the layers inside. And then you might have your plotters and page setups as well. So these are things that you don't want to keep on repeating in terms of setting up everything again. And today, in the second session, that's what we're going to talk about. How will you easily port over to BricsCAD by just copy and pasting this actually over to the correct file path. So we'll discuss that later. But for now, let's discover BricsCAD Lite with a live demo that I'll be doing. This will be a simple demo, but I think and I hope that you will learn a lot in this simple demo that I'm going to do. So let me just open this. I'm on V21. I'm using V21 right now. We already released V21. I hope you can try it out in terms of the trial. I think GP has highlighted earlier where you can download that. If you need more information, I think you can direct the questions to him as well. How to download, how to easily access a trial. And just for your information, if you do a trial of BricsCAD, it's free for 30 days, and the free version will be the ultimate, meaning you'll get to try all the different levels, not just BricsCAD Lite. So yeah, let's start for now. And I just have my list here because there's a lot to discuss today. So the very first thing that I did was just open BricsCAD. And I want to discuss this start page first before we go into any of the drawings that we have. So on the left side, you'll see you have your home, which is where you get your access to a new drawing. You can open a drawing. So this is for today's session, and you can easily access that. And then on the right side, you'll see recent files that you have accessed. And this means that it's just easy for you to just click any of these things, these files, and then they'll just open up. You don't have to scour over your folders. So let's go to Learn. So Learn tab here is where you can access a lot of our tutorials. They'll bring you to either a help page or a video that you can watch to also give you a feel of how to use BricsCAD with a guide. We have training material, it's step by step, so that's all available for you. And let's go to applications. Applications tab will show you a lot of the plugins that we have inside BricsCAD. And this includes a few other applications that you might be familiar with. So if you do use Rhino or Enscape, this will be, of course, for higher levels of license. We do have a plugin for that. You can use them side by side with BricsCAD. You don't have to exit the platform. And then, of course, there are other third-party applications. We have a lot of third-party applications that you can check out, depending on your need, of course. This full list is also available in the Bricsys website. So let's go back to home. Just open this drawing one. Basically, this is the start of the live demo. On the upper part here, you would see that we have all our tabs, our menu tabs. A lot of the features are here. All the tools that you may need are there. On the right side, you will see your panels. So you have your properties panel here. You have your layers panel. This is very familiar. I would say it's very familiar as an interface. And then you have other types of panels like attachment panels, wherein you can do your extra thing. And then we have other such panels that we'll discuss later on also. So on the lower part, you'll see a command line. So this command line is something that I think we would be familiar with. And in terms of commands, everything is the same. So you can use L for line. I'm just using L for line, rect for rectangle, C for circle, PL for polyline. So quite simple, for me to demo, but I think that illustrates how similar and familiar these things are in terms of commands, in terms of your shortcuts. You can of course configure them even more if you want, if there's something that you prefer even further. Yeah, so that's going to be the interface. And on the lower part of this drawing, you would see on the lower right side, yeah, you would see that you have your other settings. So before we go to the other settings, I wanted to bring up something first that will be very useful if you explore BricsCAD. So I'm going to our settings, which you can bring up using options or settings in itself. So as you see here, you can use this as a search bar. So normally in settings, you would need to know where in these categories you are looking for that certain item that you may want to find. But what if you don't really know? Sometimes they put it in different categories that make sense to them, but for us, we don't, as users, it's like, why is it there? But that's what I'm looking for. So for example, I just want to change the background color maybe. So I don't even need to type in the whole word here, just type in a part of the word, and I'm given options as to where background might be applied to in the settings, the list of settings. And I can use this arrow, just click down until I find the specific setting that I'm trying to find. Of course, if you know where to find it, that's perfectly fine. So if I change it here, let's say I want it to be white, if that's what you're more comfortable with, it will change for you instantly. So of course, for me, I'm more comfortable with black, so I'll just change it back to black. So I wanted to show you that searchable options settings tab there. So you can explore further. There are so many things here to explore, but that is something that you can use to make it easier for you to search for things that you might want to search for. So let's stick to that. So that's the options tab there. So let's go to dynamic dimensions. If you noticed earlier when I was drawing these entities here, I just drew them randomly, just a line like this, right? So what if I wanted to know the specific dimension? You see here, I am drawing just a rectangle here. The specific dimension of what I'm drawing um, while I'm drawing it, so that I don't need to recreate this or change it further. Just to make it easier for me, you can use dynamic dimensions, which can be found on the settings bar. So in our agenda, we are going to talk about this settings bar. So just on your lower right side, you would see DYN, that's the dynamic dimension. So I toggle it on, so that's already on. And if I do a rectangle command and just start that, you would see that I have these two dimensions here that I can change. As I'm pulling and pushing my mouse, those numbers will also change. That means I can use this information to just, let's say I wanted a 650. So I'm just using my mouse. I'm not doing any typing. 650 by 630. And I just click and that's it. But if I wanted to type in a specific dimension. Let's say this one, I wanted it to be, let's say 800 for the side of my rectangle. And then by using the tab button, I can go to the next dimension for me to input. So let's say this would be 1000. And then I can just click there. And this will be 1000. And let me just measure that. You'd see 1000 by 800. So I think that's pretty useful whenever you're drawing any of your elements. So we are just using random shapes for now, but I think this is a good way to discuss it by just using simple forms. And then you can explore later on where you can use all these tips that I'm sharing with you. So that's the dynamic dimension. So the next thing would be to offset this, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the commands are just the same. So offset will just be O, of course. So I'm just using O and then use 1000. So maybe I want to offset this by 300. And then you would see it will be there. So I think that's too near. So let's just use 200 as an offset. So I think that's fine for me. All right. So let's concentrate on this rectangle, these two rectangles for now. So that's the offset command as well. And then further to the dynamic dimensions that we mentioned earlier, you can also see that if I am drawing a line, that dimension is also shown to me. And since I don't have my ortho on, when I do any angling, you would see the angle is also shown. So this angle, let's say I wanted this line to be 1000, but I want the angle to be, let's displace it at 1000, and then the angle I want it to be 60. So just like that, and you have your 1000 long line with a 60-degree angle. So I think this illustrates the dynamic dimensions quite straightforward. Hopefully you can use that to help you out with your process and drawing and drafting faster. So let's go back to this rectangle. And I wanted to discuss rollover tips. So on the lower right side, you would see just in this settings bar that we were talking about earlier, you would see an RT. So what is RT? RT is a rollover tip. And if I turn that on, okay, let's turn that off first. Let's hover here. So I'm hovering on an entity, and that's it. I can select. I'm showing a few things, just all these points. So that's fine. But if I turn on that RT, which is the rollover tips that we were talking about, I'm given this small pop-up just beside my cursor, and this one has information on the specific entity that I'm hovering on. Not, I haven't even clicked this entity yet. So it's telling me that it's a polyline and what color it is. I can actually change it from here if I wanted to, and the layer as well. I can also change it if I have a more list, a longer list of layers. Then I can choose further, but I'll keep it there. And it gives me information on the length of this specific entity. This whole polyline means that it's 360 cm, based on the dimensioning that we did earlier, and the area is zero point 0.8 square meters. So I think this type of information offhand and very quickly on your in your fingertips is very useful. But aside from that, you can also, let's say, um, just let's say you want more information. If you select your entity here, you can go to properties panel. So um, this properties panel will give you even more information. So let's click that. And we see here a lot of the information we saw on the rollover tip, but you would also see more, even more information that you might want about this entity. So it really depends on the entity that you're selecting for. For example, you're selecting an array, you're selecting a spline that will give you specific information depending on the entity that you are selecting. So that's the rollover tip. As you see, this is just what's appearing. This is all the information that's appearing there. So even more further to this rollover tip is our hotkey assistant. So just beside the rollover tip here is HKA, which is a hotkey assistant. Okay, right now you just see that, but if I turn hotkey assistant on, it tells me, let's click here so that, yeah, okay. So something appears just below my screen here. It says I and CTRL, which is control, and control, that CTRL button means that I am able to select this full polyline. As you see, there's a blue square highlighted there. But if I click control, it gives me an option of selecting this segment only. It moves to the next selection type that it can do. I'm now pressing on control. So this rollover tip, it connects back to the rollover tip that we were discussing earlier, is now telling me it's a polyline segment. So it's only selecting that specific line. So you can imagine how useful this is if you just need to select a certain part of your entity. It really depends on the need, on your need at that specific time. So this gives me information on the length, which is 1000, and then which is what we did earlier, right? It corresponds to the dimension that we specified earlier, slope, UCS, elevation, and all that. So this polyline segment, that's it for the hotkey assistant. So if I raise my finger over the CTRL button, I'm not clicking it anymore. It goes back to the polyline. So even further to this hotkey assistant would be our quad. So how else is this Hotkey Assistant rollover tip useful in terms of the things that we want to do? They all come together if we use them together. We have a quad here on the lower right side again, just on the left side of RT. And it's in between the dynamic dimension and the rollover tip. So let's turn that on. And now when I hover over my rectangle here, you would see now it tells me it's a polyline. Okay, it's a polyline. It's a polyline. It gives me information that it gave me earlier for the rollover tip. The hotkey assistant is still there. So it's a polyline. And what is this icon that's being shown just on this part of this square that appeared on the rollover tip? So this now is called the quad. We call this the quad cursor inside BricsCAD. So the quad is an AI machine learning tool. It studies the way that you've been using your software. So it also studies and instantly recognizes that this is a polyline, and it suggests possible next tools and features that you may want to use, given that you're selecting this specific element or entity. So, for example, now it's we are selecting this polyline, so it gives us options of offset, trimming, maybe lengthening this. And then you do have other extensions to this quad cursor depending on what you want to choose here. You can edit it further, more options here. You can modify it further, draw. You can explore this as much as you want on your own. But going back to the relationship between the Hotkey Assistant and this quad, if I now click on Control, that means I am just selecting the polyline segment, right? So now the polyline segment information is given to me, and even this quad is suggesting me other tools, not the same as what it was suggesting to me earlier when we were selecting just the polyline. So now this suggestion is to adjust the bulge if you want to create a bulge, and you can also add a vertex if that's your preference. So you see how powerful these AI tools are inside BricsCAD. Um, they study the way that you're using your software. So you have a lot of possibilities here and options, even edit and draw into the constraints. So maybe for now, let's try to add a vertex. So just click adding a vertex. So it gives us that option, right? It even gives us that, let's click ortho here, just so we are in this. Yeah. So it even gives you the option to input the dimension. Because you have your dynamic dimensions on, you can input this dimension. Basically, I think this distance would be from the center, from the middle of this polygon segment. So let's try this to just be 200. You can even enter it manually if you want. So let's add a vertex there. And now you see that this has a vertex, additional vertex, and that vertex was now like 200 away from the center, as that's what we entered. And then now it's also giving you, just hovering over that vertex, now gives you more information. If that specific vertex is 300 away from the top of your entity and 700 away from the bottom. And overall, it's of course 1,000, which is the overall dimension that we input very early on in this demo. So that is the quad. And one tip that I can give you here is that you can call this quad by hovering over an entity, which is what we were doing. Or if you just have an empty space, you can right click and the quad will appear as well. You know, if there's something that you want to do. So you maybe just want to draw a rectangle. So you just right click anywhere that's vacant on your workspace, and then you can just immediately choose what you want to do there. So rectangle, and now you can draw the rectangle here. And of course, use whatever other tips that we used in the settings earlier on. So I think this very basic drawing has already given us a lot of information that we can use and tips that we can use inside BricsCAD Lite. And another thing that I wanted to discuss something, the look from. So on the upper right part of your workspace, you'd see that you have a look from, which is like a view cube. So normally on 2D, you might think that this is not too useful because you only have like your flat drawing. So of course that's the top. But in BricsCAD, you can actually view your 3D as well. So later we'll open one 3D drawing maybe just to show that. But of course, the functionality in BricsCAD Lite is on 2D. So you can view if you have any models coming in from other collaborators that are in 3D. You can of course view them. You can get some information, but you won't be able to manipulate any of them. But that's fine if that's all you need to do is just to view. And then if you right click, you can also choose some visual styles. Let's say you want a conceptual visual style. And where is that useful? We'll talk about that in a bit. And then right click here, you'll just see a lot more functionality here. Yeah. Um, in this, just right clicking here. So that's the look from that we have. So else 3D later on. Let's talk about the 3D. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to discuss is our selection modes. This is very, very useful. I find it to be very useful even in my own work. So on the upper part of my screen now, you'd see I'm hovering over three icons here. So these are the selection modes. We have one selection mode that prioritizes the selection of edges. We have one that prioritizes selection of faces. And we have one that prioritizes boundary detection. It enables boundary detection. So if you don't have it, you can just right click on your ribbon and go to panels and you go to panels and workspaces menu. There. Where is it? Parameters, constraints. Where was it? Toolbars. I'm sorry, not panels, toolbars. And then just right click and go to toolbars, BricsCAD, and then you would see more because you have so much functionality it doesn't fit. And just make sure that your selection mode is ticked and turned on there. So I have already done that earlier, and I always keep this because it's very useful. And how it's used is we're just going to focus on boundary detection for now because we're in 2D. So this boundary detection, if I have another rectangle, let's say let's just move this rectangle. So move it is of course just the same, and let's not and let's place that there. Okay, so if we enable boundary detection, just click that, it gives us this information. And of course, together with the rollover tip, it gives you that it's a boundary. What's the perimeter? What's the area? And if you have this type of overlapping rectangles, you would see that it's detecting specific area, the specific area that's bounded by the entities that you have. So you see, you don't even have to have like a proper rectangle. It just gives you that boundary. And even more, let's say we have a random circle somewhere. So it also works with obscure areas. So imagine how useful this is. If you see, this is a very, it's not linear. So you just see the perimeter very easily and the area as well. So this is quite useful, I would imagine, especially when you're trying to just immediately know how much area that you have in a certain bounded part of your layout, let's say, when you're doing up your floor plans or anything like that. So that's boundary detection. And let us go to some other things that I wanted to discuss with you would be the other AI tools that we have. But before that, I also just wanted to show you the 3D that we were talking about earlier. I have here just a 3D model. And since everything is in DWG, and we are just in the drafting mode, if you remember, and if you go to the upper left side, you will see what license level you have. Right now, I'm on BricsCAD Lite. So even on BricsCAD Lite, you would see that I'm able to um, navigate through this 3D model. Of course, it's a very simple model, but you can imagine if, let's say, this is a building, you wanted to just measure something, that's totally fine. I'm not able to modify a lot of things, but if, let's say, I enable this, prioritize the selection of faces, and I'm able to select this, and it still gives me an area information. So I can also enable the prioritize the selection of edges, and now I can select this edge. So I can select all these, just select this edge, and maybe um, do some modification. I'm not sure if we can do that because this is in 3D, but it gives you that freedom to at least view your 3D photos. So let us go to this phase. So let's say you are on this phase. If you remember, we are still doing this on 3D, but we are still on BricsCAD Lite. So you can do very little, but I think given that you only have your BricsCAD Lite, this is still useful. So you can still offset. Maybe let's offset by 20, 25. Okay, enter. So that's there. So since you have your boundary enabled, boundary detection enabled, you can still get some area information, some perimeter, even here. So I think this is pretty good, given that the light is only supposed to be for 2D. So I wanted to highlight that one. So let's go now to other AI tools that we have inside BricsCAD. That we have special um, AI features for. So I just have here a 2D drawing. This 2D drawing is just giving me information on tanks. This may be water tanks or such types of vessels that may have come from another consultant or another part or department of your organization and such. So it looks fine. You get all the information. But let's say you are now wanting to count or just try to get quick information on certain items inside. So let's say let's just zoom in here a bit, and maybe you have this L bracket. So this L bracket, okay, let's maybe we want to know what is this L bracket, how many of these we need in the side one setup of this tank. Maybe that's one information you want. So you see here, when I select that on our properties panel, you'd see we have like 12 entities there. It doesn't make sense because it's supposed to be a block. I mean, it's not supposed to be exploded. Maybe in the process of exchanging information, it got exploded. Yeah, you never know. These things happen. So what you might want to do here is to make this into a block. However, you find that this L bracket is also here and it's also exploded. And then it's also here and here and above on a different direction and orientation. And even here on this other side, and who knows where else it is in the whole drawing that you have. Um, let's just zoom in again and try to use Blockify for this um, L bracket. So this is Blockify. If you see my mouse cursor here, it automatically converts all matching entities into a block. So what it does is that, let me just perform this. So what it does is that it, um, and let's perform that in the entire drawing. See, in just one click, it has already made that into a block. So as I was saying, what it does is that it studies your whole drawing. If you wanted to study your whole drawing, you can also choose just a certain part of your drawing. But now I chose the entire drawing because I wanted to know where else is this inside this whole drawing. And it studies your whole drawing and it will ask you, no, not ask you, it will detect the same type of geometry that you selected. So this type of form and geometry and the way the lines are drawn, and select those and turn those all into a block. So if I hover here now and our rollover tip is correctly saying that now it's a block. Even the properties panel now, it's telling me it's a block. So that's great. And what's more is that if we go here, it also correctly changed this other L bracket into a similar block. So that's really good because we don't have to keep on redoing this block or defining a block and then copying it out. So that's pretty good, I think. And then what's more is that you are able to hang on, do that Blockify correctly also with a different orientation and a different direction. See here, they're all jumbled up, right? But they all are now in the same block. And if you wanted to know where else this is in your drawing, you can have you have an option here inside your quad, or if you're not comfortable with the quad, you can also put in that functionality here as one of the toolbars that you might want to use. Select similar. So for me, I want to just use the quad, and let's select the similar ones. So you see they are now all selected, and it's telling me there are about 36 of these of this L bracket, and I'm now thinking where are these 36 L brackets that I'm not seeing. Even if I zoom out here in this one piece, this is less than 36. So what I want to do now is just to maybe isolate this. So this is isolate the entities. And then now I can see, they're also happening on the specific drawing above this specific tank. So I can do that. And yeah, I just wanted to show you that, which I think is quite powerful and quite useful in your process. So that's Blockify. Even further to just doing Blockify there is to using Blockify to even make arrays. So let us zoom in, and I just zoom into this ladder. I have a ladder here that I would want to make into a block, but I find that I have these steps that if I select everything, I see that there are about 15 lines. So what else can we do with Blockify? And you see, when you select all these, they're all exploded. So when we select Blockify, you can go to settings first, and settings is just clicking S, and that's it. And then you can tick this Blockify settings and make sure you tick this, meaning you will get an array. So once you select that specific set of entities, then let's let it read the entire drawing. Again, very quickly, block inserts you see here in your command line, block inserts 30. So now, these are all now block references. Let's see. Um, there's something missing with my step. Oh, that's fine. It should also create these as blocks, so you also see that block reference. Okay, there's something that went wrong with my array, so hopefully you'll see it later on. If not, you can also refer to another video that I have inside the Bricsys channel showing this array through Blockify. So I'm sorry about that. That's fine. You can ask me about that later. If you want a video, I can also send it to you. That's weird. It hasn't happened before. That's the beauty of being live. So let us now go to another drawing that I have, which is a furniture layout. Let's close this for a while. And this furniture layout is basically just that. It's just a 2D drawing. So everything we're doing now is just on BricsCAD Lite, right? So everything is just really on 2D. So I will just zoom in a bit and try to see where I can do some modifications. For example, maybe this specific couch is something that I would want to also put in each of these rooms. So what usually will happen will be I copy this, and then I place it where I want it to be placed. I rotate it, as how it needs to be rotated. So maybe something like that. And then I need to again place it properly, how it's supposed to be displaced. So I deleted that, and let me show you an easier way using copy guided. So we have here copy guided, and what it does is it lets you select that specific entity. So inside your selection window is the entity that you're wanting to copy, and then the entities that your selection window is crossing are these. Currently, I have these four lines are going to be my base curves. So once I select that window, it automatically gives me that displacement similar to the displacement of that chair in reference to the base curves that we have. So as you see, I think this demonstrates pretty well how useful this tool is. So it also recognizes base curves that are in a different direction. So let's put those there. And it also recognizes actual curves as long as your base curves are modeled out in the same manner. That should be able to, BricsCAD should be able to read that. And even on top of copy guided would be a new feature with V21, which is move guided. So let's say, let's move here to, okay, we have a door here. So this door may be something that you want to reposition, let's say along the process of the, the design or the construction. It always happens that you need to change something. So this door now as a block reference, then normally you would have to move this and then repair your walls, right? Or this one maybe delete it and extend it back to this wall here above. But with move guided, let's do that. Move guided. And now I want to select this. And actually this door may be, yeah, if you just want it here, then let's just move that. As you see, it's quite powerful, I would say. I got really excited when I saw this for the first time before. It moved and it also healed this part of my drawing. That means I'm saving time and I'm saving my energy to concentrate on more other more important things. So I think that demonstrates those AI tools pretty well inside this part of our drawing now. So that is move guided. That's something new. Before we move on to the next part, I wanted to just highlight some browsers that we have on the right side here. We have seen properties panel, we have seen a bit of layers, but I wanted to highlight this structure panel. This structure panel is pretty cool, I would say. It helps you manage your whole drawing. So we are just in 2D now, but a lot of the times people think that structure panels are for BIM only, and you would only manage like where your building is, what floor you are in, what's the slab, what's the wall in that certain part of your story of the building. But the structure panel actually um, lists down all the entities that you have. If you see here, all the entities that I have inside this drawing are inside here. So if there is something that I wanted to just see, where are my block references? I can click that and it should be highlighted for me. And then you will see what are these lines. It's also highlighting for me here. So it's quite powerful. You can also isolate these, you know, and do whatever you need to do for those things. So earlier we were saying we wanted to see where the block references are, but if we isolate them, oh, we see that these are the only blocks in this drawing. And that's why we couldn't see this. It was too small. But because we have that isolation of feature and function, we are able to isolate that and see that clearly. So you can explore this even further when you do a trial if you want. And it's just really cool, this structure panel. You can even do isolate, you can zoom in to see specific items. Imagine if you have a whole site development and you don't even know where to begin anymore. So this structure panel will help you do that. So that's pretty cool. And then structure panel, structure browser, yeah, content browser. And I think earlier I already showed you the attachment panel as well. So that's good. Let's go to other things that we can do with this furniture layout. Maybe you want to now do some dimensions. So let us maybe just do some dimension in this window. We can go to annotate and do a dimension. And dimensioning will allow you to select a specific point like this, but it also allows you to select a specific entity. So if this is what I want to dimension, that's pretty good already. Then I select. But I see that this is not the dimension style that I want. I can immediately select and change the dimension style. I think this might be better. That's pretty good. So that's good. And we can, of course, also continue dimensioning. So let's say this. I want to dimension that. Another option you can have is to just, oh, hang on. I didn't select the right dimension style. Let us try that again and just select this. Okay, that's better. So another thing you can do would be to continue dimensioning. So you see here on your dimensioning command line, this is all also clickable options. So let's say continue. I want to continue. So I click that and I can just continue dimensioning here. So this would show me all the distances between my windows. And that's pretty cool. So that's just to show you a bit of dimensioning. And since we already touched on dimensioning, I wanted to also highlight another very useful thing inside BricsCAD that we have, which is the Explorer. So our Drawing Explorer, I'll just open that. I just used Explorer, and you will see that normally in your settings or any information that you might want in your drawing, in your specific session, you would only see information on the current drawing that you're opening. So let's say this one is, let me stretch this out so you can see that. Yeah, furniture layout, and that's what we are using now. But you see that you also can see drawing one. If I want to navigate to drawing one, it brings me back to drawing one, and these are the tanks that we were using earlier. So let us go back to the furniture layout that we want, and then let us go to dimension styles. And you see here, I have two dimension styles, and I want to know what's the difference. So I will highlight these two, and on the right side, you would see that they are highlighted now. In blue are the differences between these dimension styles that I have chosen. So imagine if you had to scour over this and try to see where is the difference. You spend a lot of time, which is not something that we want to do. So you can also show just the differences. That's pretty good. Go back to showing everything, and that's fine. So if we want, we can shift to this dimension style, ISO 25. So shift to the dimension style, which is ISO. So another useful thing would be, let's look at another drawing, maybe the tanks, and let's see the dimension styles inside this tank. Okay, now I see inside this tank drawing there is a my style, which is not in the furniture layout dimension style list that we had earlier. So what if I wanted this my style to also be available here in furniture layout? I can just drag that in, and now inside furniture layout dimension style, that my style is already there. And if I wanted to compare these three, I think that will also be shown in the Drawing Explorer. So that's pretty great. I'm only showing you dimension styles for today. We don't have much time, but you can of course explore so many other things, layers, layer states. So I think for layers, I wanted to show you something. Layer 0 will give you a preview of what are the elements inside those layers. So let's say go to doors. Which are the doors? Maybe you have mistakenly placed a certain element in the wrong layer. You can immediately also check that out here. So that's pretty great, I think. So as I mentioned, you can explore all these things on your own time. That's pretty cool that we have this drawing explorer for you to do further drawing management. So let us now go back to our drawing here, and let's just go to this part of our drawing. And I just want to change my UCS, so pretty easily I am able to change my UCS here. But before that, if you wanted to maybe create a drawing, a rectangle or that represents a table, maybe here, and you wanted it to be on the same angle as this tables here, that's not something easy to do if you are just on this UCS. So you can quickly just use a UCS and entity and just use this. And I can now use my rectangle to create a table here or whatever I wanted to create here. So let's say this is the table. And now I want it to be um, a certain distance from this desk here. So I can highlight these two and I'm instantly given information um, on the distance between these two, which is called the nearest distance. So we also have that inside BricsCAD. And if I want this to be maybe 1,500 away, I can just easily type that in and it moves for you. So the tip here is that the second entity that you select will be the one that's going to be moved. So that's that for nearest distance. I think that's pretty cool as well. And then let us move on to other things. Let's say I think I just wanted to show you quickly. The last thing would be this one, which is layout that you can explore inside BricsCAD, how your layouts may be shown. So I think it's pretty clear that you can still do your work and do your drafting and do your layouts similarly as how you were used to. You don't have to waste any of your time relearning things, but you can just add on by using the features that we have inside BricsCAD. So you see, if we zoom in here, main floor, even if you already have your layout, and I go to model, maybe I wanted to shift a door somewhere, maybe this door, and this is floor 0. Let's go to our model. And I think this is, yeah, I think this is that floor, gen this. Okay, great. So maybe the stores, I want to move it here. So fine. Let us do our maybe not move, maybe just copy a door because maybe I want another door here, like as an exit. So let us do that and just quickly copy. Maybe as an exit, it should be facing outside, right? So that's pretty great. It has been copied there. And even in your layout, of course, it's going to be reflected as well. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to waste so much time redoing things. Imagine if you had to do that hatching again, connecting these lines here and there just to be able to present it in this layout. So yeah, that's great. And one more thing would be outside all these, I think I wanted to show you just one more thing. If you go to insert, so sometimes you receive PDF files that you want to redraw in AutoCAD because you need to use the lines as geometry. So we can do a PDF import. And I think I just have one file. Okay, choose a file. Yes. And I have a sample drawing here. It's a pretty simple drawing. And open that. And let me just accept these settings for now. And you will see that it will be opened. I need to be in a new drawing. Sorry about that. Let's do that again. If you notice there, it appeared, but it overlapped with my layout. So sorry about that. Let's go to drawing 3 and do that PDF import again. Drawing, and great. So approve acceptance settings, and you should be able to see that layout. So what's the good thing about this is now I'm able to work with these lines as geometry already. So that's pretty good. Considering the time I have saved, if I had to redraw everything, if that PDF file came to me just like that, you know, and now I'm able to use this. So that's amazing, actually. I think for now, I want to just show you one last thing before we might go on a break. And let us use 24/7. So one of the panels that you will see on your right side would be a Bricsys 24/7 panel here. So let us click that. And if you imagine, now I'm in my server. So there are several servers inside BricsCAD, and I can just log in here and go to that specific server. So I wanted to show you this one first. Let's go to this. Okay, so this is 24/7. Inside 24/7, this is just a very high overview of what we have. I wanted to just bring you into one file so we can discuss this further, maybe have another session. If you're interested in 24/7, there's a lot of functionality here, but I wanted to bring your attention only to one file. I'm having a technical file here, and this pressure vessel. This pressure vessel is actually our tank that we did earlier. So this was uploaded by me, and you see this is version 32 now. So let us just see what this tank drawing looks like. So this is a viewer that we have inside, and that's it, this one, right? So this is the tank that we had. You can see layout 1, layout 2. That's pretty cool inside 24/7. So what can we do? Let's close that. And let us go back to BricsCAD. So even without going to the browser, I am able to access that file just through this 24/7 panel. But I need to make sure that I'm in the right server because I might have projects in different different servers that Bricsys has. So I should be in APAC, so that's fine. Yeah, so you just need to click the change to be on the right server. And then now it has changed here, APAC. And now I can just quickly log in. Let's log in here. Bricsys.com. And then I have my password. Okay, and I'll just log in. I will see the same list of projects. I can go to that specific folder, and that was a technical file. And I have the list here, and I wanted this pressure vessel. So you see this pressure vessel is up to date. It's uploaded by me. So let's just double click that. Double clicking means you download it. So once you download it, you might want to right click here and lock it first. So once you lock it, you'll see a lock button. It will tell anyone who might want to download this file that it's locked already. By who? By me, by Claire. So if they want to collaborate with me or coordinate on this drawing, they might want to call me. They know who to call at once. So why did you want to lock? So that no one else can upload any new version while you're working on it. Let's say you wanted to change something. Maybe this detail or this elevation should be for MP4 instead, you know. So let's just quickly change that. You might want to add in a revision cloud and any other thing that you want to adjust in your drawing, and then you save it. So once you save it, you can now upload it back to 24/7. Doing this 24/7 panel. Where is the upload button? Here, and I want to unlock it. And then now I can, once you save it, you can upload it back. So simple, you upload it back. All right, just right clicking there. And then you can select a status. So I'll just stick to draft. And description would be maybe MP2 changed to MP2 change to MP4 for elevation elevation, I don't know, elevation, whatever, A maybe. I think this is not labeled. Anyway, so you get the gist, I think. So just upload it back, and very quickly it will upload for you as you see that live. And now it's telling me it's up to date. So latest version on the server is now 33. It's telling me, and uploaded by me. So whoever goes to your browser will see, of course, you have to refresh this. They will see that this version is now version 33. So that's pretty good. You didn't even have to go to this browser to be able to access, download, change something, and upload it back to your project. So that's the beauty of having the 24/7 project in the same ecosystem as your BricsCAD. So this is all just in BricsCAD Lite. So you can imagine so much more functionality on the higher levels of licenses. So let's go back to our slides here, and we are quickly going to go on a break just after this slide. So what's beyond BricsCAD Lite? As I mentioned in the very first beginning of our session, I did say that we do have 3D direct modeling capabilities. So this will be in another license level, which is Pro. So this is all beyond BricsCAD Lite. What can you do? What else can we do? 3D direct modeling, we have parametric modeling, we do have civil tools, point cloud processing, we have AI in BIM. Of course, AI is not just stopping in 2D or 3D, it's going to be in BIM as well. We do have real-time rendering, as I mentioned, we do have Enscape, and I am now do have also Twinmotion that's also integrated. Computational BIM, which is in the Grasshopper that we have, and of course, there are a lot more. I wanted to just highlight this for those who might be interested. If you download the trial, you might want to explore these functionalities while you have the free version for 30 days. So I think for now we can go on a break, maybe a 10-minute break. What time is it now? It's about 5:20. Maybe let us go for a 15-minute break before we move on to the next session. But the next session would not be as long as this. That will be more for migration information. So, JP, let's go for a break for now. 15
Yes, ma'am,
minutes
Claire.
might be better.
All right. Thank you, Miss Claire, for that introduction to BricsCAD. So let's give BricsCAD 1 minute.
BricsCAD is computer-aided design software for people who build things. It's the best choice for drafters, designers, architects, and engineers. It's highly compatible with everything you already know. It's based on industry standard DWG for both 2D drafting and 3D modeling. BricsCAD leverages the power of artificial intelligence to help you work faster and more accurately. Hundreds of third-party applications run on BricsCAD to power your workflows. BricsCAD is a design platform that runs as one product, end-to-end. BricsCAD BIM is a unique CAD-accurate building information modeling system that keeps design first. BricsCAD Mechanical brings a familiar workflow to mechanical assembly design, and it works with BricsCAD BIM to enable the design and documentation of manufactured building products. No other CAD vendor can deliver on this promise. BricsCAD is cost-effective. A BricsCAD perpetual license is half the price of a yearly subscription to that other CAD program. Try BricsCAD today.
All right. So while having a break, you can share your questions. You can drop them in the comments below. Para later, pwede po siyang sagutin ni Ma'am Claire. And of course, I'd like to share something with you. Ito yung screen ko. There. So I would like to invite everyone na mag-subscribe po sa ating channel. It's CAD in Cloud. Okay, so it's a fairly new channel, but we're going to put up a lot of tutorials for BricsCAD in this channel. Okay, so do subscribe to CAD and Cloud. One word lang po yan, isang diretsong ano lang yan, CAD and Cloud sa YouTube. Okay? And then, to try BricsCAD, yung ano po, yung pinapakita ni Ma'am Claire kanina, do download it here. Yung BricsCAD Ultimate, meron tayong 30-day free trial where you can test the features of BricsCAD Lite, BricsCAD Pro, BIM, and Mechanical. So you just need to sign up here to download. Okay, that's 30 days so you can try it. And of course, yan po yung ating registration doon. And here, we have a group sa LinkedIn. It's called BricsCAD Users Philippines, in which all of the people using BricsCAD can connect to each other. If they would have questions, if they would have projects, if they would have collaborations, we can discuss it here sa LinkedIn. Ayan, yan po yung ating group. And over here, we have BricsCAD Users Philippines. Yan naman po yung ating public group sa Facebook. So, okay lang yan. If you're into Facebook, if you're into LinkedIn, just join both of our groups para, yun nga, we can do collaborations, we can do projects, and of course, you'll get the latest info regarding BricsCAD and related news about it. Here we have our page. Ito po ang ating page na BricsCAD Philippines. Yan po. Do like and follow our pages. Here's BricsCAD Philippines, and we also have CAD in Cloud. Yan po. Do like and follow our pages. And as Ms. Claire was discussing kanina, yung ating BricsCAD 24/7, which is a good cloud tool. Ito po. We also have the Bricsys blog na pwede nyo pong i-follow. So if ever you're new to BricsCAD or a veteran user na, you can check our blog. It's Bricsys blog, blog.bricsys.com. So we have a lot of articles there na makikita po natin relating to BricsCAD. Like here, this article says, 4 reasons to choose BricsCAD maintenance. It says here that if you get the perpetual license, it has 4 great benefits, which is number 1, all product upgrades are free. We have a priority product support. Ayan, ito talaga yung nagustuhan ko. Of course, the customers will always be the top priority. So if ever they would have needs, maganda po yung ating support system or yung ating customer service relationship. Bricsys 24/7 for design teams is free. Ito yung last topic ni Ma'am Claire kanina na telling na you don't have to download it, edit it, and re-upload it. Just using Bricsys 24/7 makes it a lot easier. And of course, yung network licenses in which, ayan po, pwede tayo mag-issue ng license not just for one user, we can do it for a network as well. Ayan po. So, make sure na you do register, no? You register to our link dito po sa YouTube. Nakalagay naman po dito yung ating registry link. Do register kasi we're giving away a 3-month subscription ng LinkedIn Career and LinkedIn Learning. Magagamit niyo po to for a lot of trainings. And ako po, myself as a video creator, dito lang din po ako natuto kung paano po gumawa ng mga videos, ano yung mga camera angles. So, everything technical, you can just learn it. You can just download the lessons. You can check kung ano po yung pangangailangan nyo na learnings. Ayan po, magagamit po natin yan through the LinkedIn Learning. So, ito yung freebies natin na magagamit po natin for today. So, if you would have questions, no? Do leave your comments below. Okay? And of course, do connect with me in LinkedIn. Ito po ako. I'll show you my profile. Yan. Okay? Do connect to me in LinkedIn if you would be interested in, of course, how to get your free download of BricsCAD. And, syempre, wow. Okay. Yan nawawala. Ayan, okay. So, how you can get your free download of BricsCAD? Ano po yung kailangan nyo for support? Kung kailangan nyo po ng mga lessons, training for BricsCAD, we're very much willing to help. Okay, anything you need to know about BricsCAD, you can connect with me dito po sa aking LinkedIn profile and I'll be happy to address your concerns. Ayan po. So we'll be having a lot of these webinars. Isa lang to, yung ano yung BricsCAD Lite. This is just first part of it and ang next lesson ni Ma'am Claire would be yung migration from A to B. From the usual CAD program ninyo kung paano siya maililipat sa BricsCAD. Of course, using a new program would be very difficult if hindi nyo alam kung paano to. And if the company is using this program for so long, syempre there would be a training na kailangan para po ma-implement itong software na to. Pero with Bricsys, we can guide you kung paano nyo po mailipat from the dating CAD na gamit nyo or the usual CAD program na ginagamit nyo papunta po ng BricsCAD. So we can do it for 2D, we can do it for 3D, and of course, yung meron tayong special functions ng BricsCAD which is yung ating mechanical tsaka yung BIM. Okay. Ayan, thank you for Sir Esmer for registering, no? Salamat po sa pag-register. So by simply pag-register po sa ating link, pwede tayong maka-avail nung aming promo ngayon, which is yung giveaway namin, which is LinkedIn Career and Learning subscription. So parang $90 each yan. Check out natin. Pakita ko sa inyo. I'll just let you have a glimpse nung LinkedIn Learning. So you would have an idea. So sharing my screen. There you go. Ayan. So here would be the LinkedIn Learning. No? Yan po, makikita nyo po dyan. You can just type in here. For example, ang ano po is architecture. We'll see kung ano mga courses ang meron po sa architecture. We have software architecture, enterprise architecture. Okay, so let's check software architecture. Ayan po. So you can choose various courses. For example, let's check this one out. The good thing about LinkedIn Learning is the lessons are very short, like this one. 1 minute 40 seconds, and pwede mo siyang balik-balikan, pwede mo siyang i-download. You can even share it to your group. For example, they don't have LinkedIn Learning and you have an account for yourself, you have activated it, you can share it to your group so they can also learn from it. I usually take the video editing, the video production videos. Like this one, creating and managing a YouTube channel. So you can check this course and you can click here. So you can share it to your social media partners or your teammates. So usually I ask them to create an account in LinkedIn and then share this course to them. So that's entirely free. So you can finish the course on your own pace dito po. Yan. It's very easy. And some courses, sa dulo po, meron tayo makukuhang, does this have, this one has, here. This one has, instead of watching, you can also read. Most of the courses have that. And some courses, you can see the related courses in this area. Yan po. Nakita niyo po dyan. And there are some courses na meron po silang certification if you're going to complete it. Okay. So yan po yung value ng LinkedIn Learning for me. And sayang naman po if hindi kayo magre-register ngayon para ma-avail. Okay? You can try After Effects if you like. Yan po sa mga video editor. Nandyan po, napakaraming courses, a lot of courses that you can take on your own page. I have a friend that introduced me to LinkedIn Learning, si Boss Jom, no? Told me that every time na lalabas siya, meron siyang at least 1 to 2 lessons ng LinkedIn Learning na video and he's going to watch it on his downtime para at least he can learn things during his break time. Okay. Ayan po ang LinkedIn Learning. So we're giving away LinkedIn Learning ngayon for free. Yan. Si Sir Esmer, ano siya, qualified na siya kasi nag-register siya. So by simply registering sa ating link, no, qualified na po kayo makatanggap, mapasama po sa ating raffle ng LinkedIn Learning. Ayan. So kindly register po. So hello po kay Ma'am Tintin Antido. Ayan. Isang magandang hapon po sa inyo. So, do register. And while registering, no, while waiting for Ma'am Claire, pahinga lang daw po siya ng konti. Ayan. Please check out our groups, our social media pages. So, number 1 would be CAD and Cloud. CAD and Cloud is our official YouTube channel in which dito po kayo magpo-post ng ating mga webinars, trainings. In the future, we're going to make a lot of videos regarding BricsCAD. Para mas madali po kayong matuto, you would have project ideas. Yun po yung gagawin natin dito. Yan. So, you can download the BricsCAD link. Dito rin po sa YouTube channel natin. Sa Facebook, nasa description po where you can download your BricsCAD Ultimate. It's free for 30 days. So, that's a lot of time para matry nyo po yung ating program. And with the upcoming lesson after this break, makita nyo po yung A to B migration natin in which magkakaroon po tayo ng easy steps on how from using the old or the CAD program, yung usual CAD program natin, we can migrate easily to BricsCAD. So pagkatapos po nun, do download. Download po yung BricsCAD para masubukan nyo rin po. Okay? So with this free trial, for 30 days, you can use the BricsCAD Lite, the BricsCAD Pro. It also has the BIM and mechanical functions. Okay. And here, we have our group sa Facebook. Usually kasi sa mga group, maganda po itong mga group para po makapag-discuss po tayo ng iba't ibang mga functions relating to the topic. Like here sa BricsCAD po, we can discuss yung 2D, 3D modeling. If you would have questions regarding mechanical and BIM, yan, we can discuss it here. So this one is for Facebook, BricsCAD Users Philippines. We also have a group. Ayan po. Ito, page na po ito. BricsCAD Philippines. So yun po, we'll post the updates here, our upcoming webinars, our upcoming mga summits po. Ayan. So right now, we're broadcasting live dito po. Ayan po tayo. And this is our Facebook page ng aming company. It's CAD and Cloud. So yan po. Paki-like naman po and paki-follow. Para po every time that we would have updates, we would have news, we would have promos. And kung ano man pong ibibigay naming update, we're sure to post it here for the first time. Okay? And lastly, do follow our blog. It's called Bricsys blog. So yan po yung ating tagline. Make CAD fun again. Okay? So yan po, you can learn a lot of stuff here. Actually, dito lang po ako nagbabasa every time na may bagong articles para po makakatulong po sa ating progress. Ayan. So do follow our social media accounts in YouTube, yan po, CAD and Cloud, and our pages, yan po. We have BricsCAD Users Philippines as one of our groups. Ito, BricsCAD Philippines as our page dito po sa Facebook, and of course, CAD and Cloud. Okay, ayan po. Do like and follow our pages, join our groups para po maka-receive po kayo ng update, and of course, subscribe po kayo sa aming channel. It's called CAD and Cloud, no? Click the bell. Ito po, click the bell para every time we would have a new video, we have a scheduled webinar, you would always be updated firsthand. Okay. So check natin if ready na po si Ma'am Claire. Ayan po. So nagbe-break lang si Ma'am Claire. And this topic, yung migrating from A to B, is really good. Kasi ever since I started with CAD and Cloud, that's the first question na sinasabi or binabanggit sa akin ng aking mga nakakausap. Kasi sanay sila sa ganitong program and mahirap talikuran yung nakasanayan. Pero dahil nga po we want to prioritize the service, ayun po, dito namin sinisimulan how you can migrate from your old CAD program papunta po dito po sa BricsCAD. Okay. And si Ma'am Claire pala, ano po siya, she's from Singapore pa, no? So, we're really honored na siya yung aming lecturer ngayon. Siya yung ating magtuturo sa atin. Alright? Ayan. Are you ready, Ma'am Claire? Ayan. So, Ma'am Claire's ready. Do share your screen pag okay na po.
Share my screen. Okay. I think I'm sharing now. Is it sharing?
Here, ma'am. Sharing na po.
Okay, great. So we were out on a break. Thank you for giving me a bit of break there. So
Okay.
the next part of the session today will be focusing, as JP said, it will be focusing a bit on the migration part. So let us talk about this slide again, which we discussed earlier. So these are the things that you already have in your library, perhaps your tools, tool palettes, CUIs, list files. As I mentioned, we went through this earlier. This list. So DST, you have your DWT files, which are your templates, and then you may have your page set up. So all these have been built over the years. It's not easy to have built this just in an instant. It takes a lot of time for companies to come up with the best templates and CUIs for them, which you don't want to waste those. So when moving over to BricsCAD, that is something that you can bring over as well. You don't have to worry about wasting all the effort that you've done before. So let us just have a list here again. Before we go on to the list that we read out earlier, we'll have just a case study, just one of the customers that we have who successfully migrated over to BricsCAD some time ago. So let us just go and discuss Subsea 7. So Subsea 7 is a company that's based in Luxembourg. They are doing subsea engineering, construction, and they're a services company serving the offshore energy industry. So this is not a lightweight industry. They, as you see on top, their migration success, they have about 1,000 user network that was deployed of licenses. So that's pretty substantial, I would say. And the company is registered in Luxembourg, so their headquarters is in London. So over to the pictures, you would see on the left side a gentleman that on the top photo, he's in the middle. This is our director of deployment. He is Mr. Robert Green. And if any of your companies need any deployment assistance, we would of course engage him to help out to help you move to BricsCAD more easily. So let's move on. Subsea is one of the people they have is Lorelei Connors. She is still there. She was actually part of the panel that we had in the launch last year, I believe, of V20. So as you can see here, they were using AutoCAD for about 28 years. So that's pretty good for them to have ported over to BricsCAD. And this is just a testimony of her to show how successful it was for them to do this. So that's pretty good. All right, let's go to the best approaches and practices that we have for migrating over. Of course, to make a migration easier, you need to make few mistakes so that it'll be more effective. And the goal really is to get from A to B very quickly so you can proceed on to do all of your work that you need to do. So that's the goal, to achieve a starting quick success. To do that, a strategy is required. You need your users to get familiarized with the new software easily. And as I think we demonstrated earlier, that's pretty easy to do with BricsCAD. Everything is quite familiar, and on top of that, you get a lot more functionality that you will need to make your work more productive and faster. So you would also need some licensing information, a lot of these other things, migration of assets, deployment, and learning. So success is not an accident. You need some planning, right? So let's focus today on migration of some assets, meaning the list of things that we discussed earlier, which was your customizations, your CUIs, tool palettes, and such. So one note we would say is to clean up as you migrate. Don't just migrate everything that you've done. Of course, you have over the years maybe some files that you don't really need anymore, obsolete programs, maybe some folder structures that are quite intense. So maybe you want to simplify a bit those a bit, some blocks and palettes, and just migrate the minimum that you need to be able to work and have a fresh start, basically. So the very first thing you need to do is to locate where your assets are. And if you're coming from ACAD, that will be, you type in options, and you will see that in one of the folder paths there, that's where your support folder is. And that's where you can take a lot of the assets that you want and bring them over to BricsCAD. And how do you bring it over to BricsCAD? I'll show you that. Let's go to BricsCAD now. So let us say that you have already, let's have a fresh drawing here so that we're not distracted. Okay, so let's say you have already copied over some of the information or assets that you have. That means, let me just show you a couple of folders here. So these are the file paths that are connected to those support files that we were talking about. So let's say on the left side, this was perhaps your original sheet sets, your plot styles, and some other information here. I have a CLF DWT file here that I chose to bring over to BricsCAD, let's say. So these are things that you want to just copy over. And before I even do copying, I want to show you how it would be. For let's say that is a DWT file. And if I want to start a new drawing with a template, let's say I have a company template, let's say it's CLF, that's my name. So let me just click here and I can start with a template. If I want more, I can see here which one I need. So currently I don't have that CLF template that maybe my company has been using and has established that this is the company template. So what do? I can just go to that folder, templates, and then from your original support file from your previous software, you can copy that. So I'll just right click and very quickly copy. Of course, you can always use your shortcut commands of Control C and Control V and paste that in this support file that I have, which is my templates inside BricsCAD. So the important thing is to know where your folder path is. So that CLF is there. And then now, if I go here, template is still not there. But if I click more, I think you should be able to see. Hang on, where is it? Let us just, okay, maybe I need to restart this. Let us not save anything now. Sorry about that. Live issues. Okay, great. So let's restart this. It should be there. And let's go back here. Right, it's opening for us. So hopefully it's gonna be there. And then Let's go to more. Yeah, now it's there. I find it there. So just make sure you close and open your program again on the step. And yeah, and now I can quickly just use that template to start a new drawing. And let's have a new drawing. And inside this template might be the layers that I was already using over the years. So I just actually did I came up with a few layers here, and all these colors. Maybe you have your line weights, whatever information you have in terms of your layers will be brought in as well. So that's a good thing there that we talked about. That's your template, which is a DWT file. Just make sure you know where to copy paste it. And that's something that you can find out by going to your options, and you will see your support file there. So inside BricsCAD, it would be this. You have to go to users, and then you go to your Bricsys, local Bricsys folder, and then BricsCAD, and what version of BricsCAD you're using. And then go to there'll be just one folder there actually until you get to templates, and then templates is where you see all of these information. Just copy paste it there, and that should be fine. And you'll see it already available for you. So that is the DWT file. It goes the same with the sheet sets and DST files. Let's go back to that list. You will see here some DST files. So this covers DWT and DST already. So that's for that. And then let us discuss UIs, printing, plotting files, PC3 files that you may have, which would be, oh, I missed the list. Okay, let's go back to Lisp. Sorry about that. Okay, this one would be for the Lisp, if you have Lisp routines. So let us see a Lisp routine that we may want to bring in to BricsCAD. So let's go back to BricsCAD. And how do you do that? Let's say you have a certain Lisp. Do this one. I already actually copied it over to the BricsCAD side of my support path. So this was maybe a list that you were using earlier on to create automatic areas for you. But actually, I just downloaded it from the internet just as a sample for today. And then you can just copy and paste it in this folder. I actually also just created a list folder here. And what will happen is inside BricsCAD now, you can use app load, this command app load, and then just add one there. And you should be able to go to your file path, which is, let's go to that file path, which is in C, and now you're seeing exactly where you need to go. So C, and then I think it should be users, and then here, and then app data, roaming, Bricsys, BricsCAD. So you see, if you are not aware exactly where to find these things, it will be a bit confusing, but this is just how you're able to load up everything. And after this, that should not be a problem anymore. So that's the list file that we are wanting to find. So that's the area, and open that. So it will be included in your list already. And you might want to auto load that. Tick the auto load. So just it will be available every time you just boot up BricsCAD. So just close it, and that's there. Of course, if you want to delete it, that's also fine. You can easily delete that as well. So we've covered this. We've covered DWTs. We've covered DSTs. The next one would be yeah, okay, let's go to CUI styles. CUIs, printing plot files, tool palettes. So let's go back to our BricsCAD here. And then let's go to support files. I have also here a CUI that I copied over from the original program that you might be using. So how do you change that? You can just change it here. Just right click on your ribbon, customize, and then just go to your main customization file. This is just the default. Actually, I'm using the default of BricsCAD, but if you want a different one where you copied it over, just choose that and open it. And you will see that your interface will be changing for you. If this is the interface that you are used to, then you'll be happy to know that you can immediately use that interface as well. Just copy it over to BricsCAD uh, file path. So that's that. But for me, I actually prefer the default of BricsCAD. So if you want to put it back, you can immediately also just go back to the default. So you see here, I have, if you just see the BricsCAD interface, this may be what you're more comfortable with, just the icons there and your ribbon, and you have these panels on your right side. But for me, my comfort is in the default. So let me just bring that back, and you'll see it's quite quick. It brings that back quite quickly. And let us, okay, right. So we're back to the CUI that we are used to. Let us go to tool palettes now. So tool palettes are, I think I also copied it in the support folder. So Bricsys, BricsCAD, and these, I have tool palettes. So this is something I also downloaded. You might have been using this in your previous work flow also. So tool palettes can be found here inside BricsCAD. You have a panel here. So you can right click. If you don't see it, just click to panels, and then BricsCAD and tool palettes. Here, tool palettes. So you would see there, it's ticked, so it's actually here already appearing on my right side. So just to expand this might be some things that you already have. So right now, I only have a few hatches, I have draw, hatch, command, tools, and form features. That's all. But what if I wanted to include the tool palette of the furniture that I was already using, maybe a company standard or a brand that we will always use in the company? You can right click here and customize palettes. So inside this dialog, you will see a left and a right side. On the left side, you want to right click and import, and then find the tool palette folder that you prefer. So let's say this one, and then I just find one there. So I just want to upload only one for now. So I mean, install one for now. So let's open that, and you will see it's added there, and just close it. So if I go back to my palettes here, I have an additional Bossa Nova set, and these I can now drag into my workspace, and that's going to be something I can use already. So that's pretty great. And maybe my view would visual style, let's put it at conceptual. So you can also play around with that. Visual style modeling. So yeah, just pretty cool stuff here. You can drag and drop, and that will appear for you. If these are the things that you already always use, and you have these tool palettes as a standard in your company, so that's great. So we've covered tool palettes. Right, let's go to plotter configurations. So outside my support file, just go out. Just before support file, you have your plotter configurations, PMP files. You have your um, PC3 files, maybe. You can just copy them over here. And then another one would be plot styles, which is your CTB files, STB files. Just copy them over, copy, paste, and that's all. The important thing is to know which folder you are placing them in. So just make sure that's correct, the correct file path. And that's it, I think, for those printed files, your pilots, list files, that's all. And then once you've pasted them there, you'll find that they're already available for you. So I think that's all that we want to discuss on those things. And the last one would be to create a standard profile. So if you want to have your standard profile, your own standard profile, just go to Profile Manager, and maybe you want to have a default, and then maybe go to Set Current. Maybe you want to create one, and then this one would be BIM. Let's say for myself, so CLF BIM. If this is the, oh no, I'm not on BIM, I'm on 2D. So let's say CLF 2D drafting. This is the type of profile that I want. I have the tool palettes, I have the CUI, I have all these things going on. And this is the workspace that I'm comfortable in. I create that profile and click OK. And let me just set current. That check will be transferred over. If there's something you want to delete, you can delete that. Yes. And then, yeah, and you can also export it out, import something in if you are already using a profile from some other program that you were used to, and just click OK. And that's it. That's your profile. And every time you start BricsCAD, you can just choose to use that profile already. So making things easier for you. Um, After that, I think we just have a few more things here. We've covered mostly everything. And I think I have just, okay, list. We already covered this. Just give me 2 more minutes. Palettes, UIs, we have done, and the project configurations, we have done this, and profile management. And that's all. So I just wanted to end with this slide to highlight the 2D drafting that we discussed today, but just to also remind you that we can do everything else that you may want to do in your whole process inside of BricsCAD in different level licenses, of course, but everything in DWG. And yeah, that's all. So as a last slide, I just put in here my email address if there's anyone who wants to ask questions later on. If you haven't thought of any questions now, you feel free to just email me. And we are happy to reply and help you out with what you need in terms of using BricsCAD. Yeah, thanks everyone. JP?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for that webinar, ma'am, that lesson na pagsisimplify po ng BricsCAD. Thank you, Miss Claire, for giving us time. Ayan. Okay, so do connect with Ma'am Claire and save her email, no? Ayan. So if you would have questions while Ma'am Claire is still here, kindly drop them in the comments below. And of course, I would invite you to register here in our live stream. Um, we have a link here to download BricsCAD, okay? So it will direct you to this page where you can download the 30-day free trial of BricsCAD Ultimate, where you can try the BricsCAD Lite, the BricsCAD Pro, and also the BIM and mechanical features. Okay, so download it now here at this link. And of course, uh, do join our groups. It's BricsCAD Users Philippines. Ayan, it's in LinkedIn, and they also have a group of BricsCAD Users Philippines on Facebook. Do join our groups and like and follow our pages, which is BricsCAD Philippines and, of course, CAD in Cloud. And there, we also have a blog, which is the blog bricsys.com. You can check this blog, this website. It's blog.bricsys.com, so you can get information about our software, BricsCAD. Okay. Stop sharing the screen, and there's no more questions. I'd like to thank Ma'am Claire for joining us tonight. And I hope, ma'am, meron po tayong next part. I hope we
Yeah,
have another
sure. Let's,
in the
let's
future po.
schedule some webinar again next time. Hopefully, we can meet more people, and
Yes.
yeah, let's try to find some topics that are of interest to the viewers,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can just talk about it, and hopefully we can move and just spread the word about BricsCAD and how useful and good it is. Powerful AI tools, again, as I mentioned. We are in the same time zone, so that's pretty good. We have a good support team as well. Aside from our team here in Singapore, we do have a global support team for any support requests or anything that you might need. So that's great.
Okay.
Thank you
So
also.
thank you, Ma'am Claire. Yeah, so Can we get an attendance check? So I'd like to have an attendance check right now. Kindly comment down below so we can give away these LinkedIn career. Sayang naman po kasi kung si Sir Esmer lang po yung makaka-receive. And for Sir Esmer, no, do send your details to our page, which is BricsCAD Philippines, to claim your prize. Okay? Kindly message us with your full name, your mobile number, and your email address. Doon na lang po sa BricsCAD Philippines na page. Okay. So, if the people watching right now, wala na po silang questions, maybe we can end this very great live stream, no, Ma'am Claire? Okay na po?
Yeah, sure.
Ayan.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
we hope to have you next time ulit for another webinar, for another very informative na webinar about BricsCAD. Okay, ma'am?
Thanks,
Salamat po.
everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Ma'am Claire. And so I hope you would join us next time for another webinar, another informative webinar, so everyone can learn how to use BricsCAD and, of course, incorporate it sa inyong mga online businesses, online jobs, and everything. Ayan, hello po kay Jerry MM and kay Mer Tayag. Okay, for Jerry MM and Mer Tayag, no, I'll give you a LinkedIn career and learning subscription. Pero do message us, no? Do message us sa may natin sa Facebook page natin, which is the BricsCAD Philippines. Here, let me share my screen para makita po ninyo. Okay, do send us a message here sa BricsCAD Philippines para po ma-claim ang inyong prize. Okay? So that's for Mer Tayag and Jerry MM. Okay, guys? So I'll join you next time. My name is JP Titik. Do connect with me in LinkedIn. Hanapin niyo lang po, John Paul Titik. Yan po yung aking... Here's my profile. Okay? Here's my profile. You can connect with me in LinkedIn. And if you would have any questions regarding Bricsys, BricsCAD na software, how you can get these programs, how you can download it for free, for a 30-day free trial, kindly connect with me in LinkedIn so we can discuss these things. Okay? So this has been a great night. Do subscribe to CAD and Cloud YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.